Alright, so today I got some new fish for the Bowfront tank, which is the Tanganyika tank, which is this tank right here. And currently there's one Tanganyika Cichlid in here, that guy right there. There are 4 Bouchardes. These guys are still fairly small, so I gotta wait until they get some size on them. And then one julidochromis, and that is what I got some more of today. So I got 3 of these guys, and these are a bit smaller than the one that's already in here, but I actually don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. The Bouchardes are about the same size as these guys. Actually, these julidochromis might be a little bit bigger than the Boucharde, and the one that's in here is a pretty good example of what a mature one looks like. And he's got probably an inch or so on him, but I really don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. I just saw the bumblebee catfish out. I literally never see this fish out. That's pretty wild. He literally never comes out. I see him maybe once a month, but there he is back there. But we'll just have to see once I do end up releasing them in here, but I really don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Like I said, being that the Boucharde have been in here for a while and they're pretty small themselves, and neither one of these mature fish, the Tanganyika or that julidochromis, have been aggressive towards them. So now we have 4 Boucharde in here, and then 4 julidochromis, so now I just need to add a few more Tanganyika in here. These guys are hard to find. I mean, a lot of these Tanganyikans and like shell dwellers and stuff, they are hard fish to find, and they're even harder to find at mature, good sizes. A lot of times if you are able to find them, they're really, really small, but I kind of lucked up with these guys because they're fairly small, but they're not tiny, so that was why I went ahead and got them. Just coming up there and checking them out a little bit. So we'll let these guys sit for a few minutes and acclimate, and then come back and put them on in. So this has been one of the main foods that I have fed my flower horn over the years to get him into the fish that he is now, and it is a great growth formula for any kind of large fish, or really any kind of fish in particular. What I've been doing lately though is feed it to some of these fish here in the 75-gallon tank. I don't really feed them a lot of heavy pellet food, but I've been kind of alternating it around with some of the other foods that I feed them, and they love it. And it also, like I said, helps with the growth. Some of these fish in here definitely need that, especially those guys right there, the tiny electric blue jack dempseys, the cars, they need it. So this is what they look like, which is a little bit too big for most of these fish in the 75-gallon. So what I will do is take one and break it in half just like that, and that is what you end up with. Get several at a time, because we all know that 2 at a time is not going to be efficient. Throw it all in there and watch them just go to town. There's not a single fish in here that will not eat these pellets, and it fattens them up very quickly. I don't have to feed very many of these to get them full, and the only one is maybe that Leperinus, because he can go to town. He's probably the only one in here that can actually eat a whole stick at a time instead of me having to break them in half. But other than him and maybe that big gold severum back there, everything else gets full off these pretty quickly, which helps a lot. Drop a few more in there, and that's pretty much it. And like I said, I alternate this. I don't feed it every single day because it is a pretty heavy food on these small fish like this. So I'll just usually feed it every other day, or like every 2 days or something like that. But like I said, they love it, and I really think it's going to help improve some of these fish in here and get them growing pretty quickly, because some of these fish, they need it, especially these electric blue jack dempseys, even though they are a fairly slow growing fish. Got some frozen bloodworms right here. I'm going to feed the pea puffer tank really quickly, and watch these guys just go to town. They are out and about and ready to be fed. This is about all that I feed these guys. If you've ever kept pea puffers before, you know that they will not eat flakes or pellets or any kind of dry food like that. If you are able to get them to eat something like that, then it's pretty rare. But bloodworms and small snails is just about the only thing that mine will eat. Sometimes I can get them to eat some brine or mysis shrimp or something like that, but that's about it. These guys will not take to any kind of flake food or pellet or any kind of dry food like that. For the most part, it is bloodworms and snails that all that mine will eat, and that's about all they want. And the other fish eat the bloodworms just fine as well. Sometimes I'll throw a little bit of flake in here for some of the smaller tetras, just to make sure they're getting enough food. But believe it or not, these little tiny ember tetras, they are just fine when it comes to eating these bloodworms. And these cardinal tetras, I've had these guys for a long time. I still want to add more to the school. It's just really hard to find good batches of cardinal tetras, but man, they have gotten big, especially that one right there in the back. That is a very large cardinal tetra. It's hard to tell on camera, but you can see just how big they are compared to those ember tetras right there. There's the big female albino bristlenose pleco right down there. She's kind of coming out a little bit. This is when she comes out when I feed a little bit. Other than that, she stays hidden the whole entire day. And there she is right there. Figured while I'm at it, I'd feed this tank a few bloodworms. This is one of the main food that I feed these guys as well. I will feed some pellets to these fish as well, but they love bloodworms just as much as the pea puffers do, and you can see them going at it right there. If you watch my channel for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of bloodworms. It's one of the main foods that I feed just because a lot of fish like it. It's not very messy whenever you feed it if you get the right kind of frozen bloodworms, and it's really good about fattening fish up and bringing out a lot of colors, and it's an overall great food. It shouldn't be the only food that you feed fish unless it's something like, you know, pea puffers. That's about the only thing that they'll eat, but it's just a really, really good food for a lot of different types of fish, and I've honestly never seen a fish that does not like bloodworms. That's a pretty rare find to find. Alright, I think it's about time we get these guys out of the bag. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, boop. And there they are, all three of them. Alright, let's see what happens. And they all look really, really good. All their fins look great. They've actually got some blue color already coming in. If you notice, oh, there they are. And there's that size difference. Yeah, it's a lot bigger once you get them in the tank. These fish get a nice stripe of blue, like an outline of blue across their dorsal and on their tail. You can see it right there. And man, look at that size difference. See, I really did not think he would do anything, and so far that's holding to be true. And these Tanganyika cichlids may not have the same kind of personality that Malawi cichlids have, like peacocks and haps and abunas, but they've got some really, really cool markings and characteristics about them that none of other cichlids have. So now I've just got to find some lelupe that are decent size, not quite that big, but not tiny either. And then this tank will be complete, and I'll just kind of let it ride from there. So I'm going to keep a very, very close eye on this guy, obviously, even though he's not showing much aggression just yet, and make sure that all three of these little guys are going to do just fine in here, but I really think they are. And on the topic of cichlids, I mentioned this a little bit in the last video, but my 300-gallon pond that's outside that has mainly been a koi and goldfish and turtle pond for the most part, I'm actually going to be turning that into an Mbuna African cichlid pond in the springtime, so I'm waiting until it starts to warm back up, so that way I don't have to put heaters in there like I do with the 800-gallon pond. And I'm going to really, really slam it full of Mbuna Africans. I'm probably going to get a lot of them about the same size as these julidochromis were, so fairly small, and then we'll be able to watch them grow throughout the spring and summer, and eventually probably end up getting some breeding action out of them. And I'm probably going to have 8, 10 plus types of Mbunas in there for the most part. And it's going to look really nice, I think. But I do hope you guys did enjoy the video, and if you guys did, please be sure to give it a like down below. Let me guys know if you have any questions about these fish that I just got today, or any of the fish that I have in particular. Going to be fun to watch this tank progress with all of the Anubias that's in here, and the fish that are already in here, and some of the more fish that I do plan to get for it. Thanks for watching as always, though, and with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.